economic future. Thanks for joining us on the program. I am your carrier, Clinton. Now, with me in the studio for this conversation to talk set an agenda for Ambassador Designates is Dr. Adoyi Matthew Omali. He's an international relations analyst. It's a pleasure to have you on Nigeria today.
Good evening, and I'm happy to be on NTA once more.
And joining us via Zoom is Ambassador Dawuda Danladi, Nigeria's former High Commissioner to Pakistan. It's a pleasure to have you on Nigeria today.
Thank you very much for having me, and I'm also glad to see Dr. Omali.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Now, before I will go to Ambassador Danladi, I want you to give us from an international perspective, how strategic are the appointments of ambassadors to the US, France, and the United Kingdom?
Well, these three countries you just mentioned, they are very, very critical to Nigerian foreign policy. And I think that is why the president, in his wisdom, quickly allocated those countries to some of the most experienced hands among the 68 that were selected, that were forwarded to the National Assembly. Ambassador Latif, of course, as you know, Are, that is going to the mission in the US, was a former security chief in Nigeria. And with the recent altercations and the recent arguments about the insecurity in the country and the threats from the American president and so on, he is no doubt, that appointment is very, very important. So I will say that if you look at France, with the role France is playing within our sub-region, West Africa and so on, most of our neighbors are from the Francophone countries. It is also very important that another seasoned administrator, don't forget that we have been complaining that the insurgency we are experiencing in Nigeria and most parts of the world are perpetrated by people from other parts of the country. So Ambassador Dele, that have been posted to France, is also a former DG of the Nigeria Intelligence Agency. So with that appointment, it's clear that the president, the way I'm reading it as an analyst, is that he's really very concerned about the security situation in the country. And I think these people will act in terms of collaborating with the foreign diplomatic missions and the foreign government to see how we can surmount these challenges. For Britain, it's always very critical. Ambassador Dalatu has a lot of experience from his posting in South Korea, and I can say that it is a posting that is well tailored, because it's not just pushing somebody to a country without the background experience in diplomacy. You know that ambassadors are very critical. One of the most important functions of a diplomat is to report events in the country where they are posted to, and how these reports are collated and how they are reported back to the country, the sending country, is very, very critical. And from these three persons that have been posted to these very strategic countries, if you look at their pedigree, if you look at their background, they are very, very competent in terms of this very important aspect of the function of a diplomat or a diplomatic mission.
So in other words, we have a round peg in a round hole from your own
yes, because
analysis.
Of what
the
current burning issues, many of the issues that we are facing today that we need international assistance is in the area of security, in the area of assistance to tackle insurgency and so on.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much, Dr. Omali. Now, to you, Ambassador Danladi, now, from the analysis of Dr. Omali, we have the right man for the job. But from your own point of view, what global and regional dynamics should Nigeria's ambassador designate be most mindful of as they assume office?
Very much for this question. Let me start by congratulating all ambassadors designate. They are people with proven wealth of experience. They are accomplished administrators, technocrats, professional soldiers, and even politicians. So Nigeria will expect a lot from them. Yes, in this present era, there is a global shift which has made international diplomacy quite challenging. The emergence of various international groupings like the BRICS countries and other organizations that are challenging the status quo really pose some challenges to the ambassador designate. But I think their functions and duties will be anchored on the present 4D principles or key principles of the foreign policy of this present government. And these 4Ds, number one is the issue of democracy. Nigeria or this present government is committed to promoting democracy, especially in Africa, particularly West African countries. And as you know, there are challenges in these areas. So those experienced ambassadors that will be posted to these countries will have the issue of engaging robustly with their host countries, especially within the African region, to promote the issue of democracy, good governance, assisting in strengthening their democratic institutions so that democracy will thrive in the African continent. Again, if we move forward, the other D is the issue of development. Now, as you know, we have various challenges. No development can take place in the absence of peace. Without peace, development cannot take place. So the issue of peace is critical, and these ambassadors, Nigerians will expect them to engage robustly with countries that have comparative advantages in these areas. The United States, for example, Nigeria, it's looking forward to greater assistance in the areas of surveillance, the necessary tools and equipment to combat the insurgency. And I believe those that have been nominated or posted to, particularly to these superpowers, United States, France, and of course Great Britain, they will debunk the negative narratives about Nigeria and set a very good agenda towards combating the menace of terrorism. Again, the issue in the areas of general development, we're talking about the issue of infrastructure, the provision of infrastructure, access to markets. So we look forward to robust engagement of these new ambassadors, one, to market Nigeria, two, to navigate strategically between the emerging powers, especially the BRICS countries and the West, so that we can maximize maximum benefits, at the same time to also mitigate risk as they go about trying to contribute their quota by ensuring that these countries that have comparative advantage over Nigeria, those advantages are leveraged, they are harnessed to promote agricultural development, to promote educational development, health, the health sector, the exploration of our solid mineral sector. All these areas that our ambassadors designate, once they assume office, have the advantage of position to contribute towards attracting the required investment into these various sectors. So I see a very challenging times, but looking at the profile and the pedigree of the ambassador designate, I am quite optimistic and hopeful that they will bring their experiences to bear in leveraging the various opportunities that they will encounter in their host countries to add value to what is going on in the country. Let me quickly say this, that foreign policy, foreign policies actually is it's a reflection of the domestic policy. How robust is the economy? How well are we managing our economy? What about the infrastructure developments? What infrastructures have been provided? What are the incentives? So again, I look forward to a robust cooperation by all the MDAs in collaboration with the ambassadors designates as they assume office, so that when reports are forwarded, these reports are acted upon by the MDAs. In most cases, when EPAs, I mean economic partnership agreements and treaties are signed, relevant organizations or MDAs that are supposed to implement such agreements and policies, at times we find that there is lacuna, there's no coordination. So I look forward to possibly closing this particular gap based on the pedigree of this ambassador designate and the vision of the government, so that Nigeria will come out of the woods and Nigeria will be repositioned, her image will be marketed robustly for the general development of the country.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Danladi. Now, Dr. Omai, Ambassador has touched quite a lot of it, but I also want to hear your own perspective on what should be the core priorities of these ambassador designates to these influential Western powers.
Yeah, just like like my colleague has said, they have a lot of work to do. First and foremost, the most important work, as I've said earlier, is that they have to convince the international community that the Nigerian government have the capacity to tame the insecurity that we are facing in parts of the country. And like I said earlier, there are no two other people within the 68 that were nominated that can do it better than those who have been part of the Nigerian security architecture. Ambassador Are and Ambassador Oke. They have been part of the Nigerian security, internal and external security architecture. So they have a good understanding of the security challenges. They have a good understanding of our domestic environment. And they can be able to explain to the American government, to the French government, and also Ambassador Dalhatu, they will be able to explain to the government of the UK that, look, this insurgency that we're experiencing in Nigeria, from their experience over the years, from the experiences that they have gathered over the years, from the activities in those agencies, security agencies that they led, they will be in a better position to be able to sell Nigerian policies towards containing this insecurity and maintaining law and order within this country. That is what gladdens me with the appointment of these persons and with the postings. When I saw it yesterday, I saw that, yes, the postings were very, very satisfactory, because they are going to convince the international community that the government is competent, the government is capable, the government is willing to arrest the ugly trends of insecurity that we are witnessing. And we believe that that will change some of the narrative, as Ambassador has said, some of the narrative that have been pushed both by foreign media and by others. Don't forget that the role of an ambassador, first and foremost, is to negotiate on behalf of their country, is to be able to launder the image of their country to the outside world. And you cannot do that if you do not have the experience, if you do not have the necessary information that will aid you to carrying out, to convincing the international publics on why certain decisions have been taken in your home country and how these decisions have been impacting on your society. So it's a very tall work to do, especially against the background that a president like Donald Trump that have his mind made up, and of course you see the way he carries himself. The U.S. ambassador, I don't envy him because he has a lot of work to do in convincing somebody like Trump to understand the peculiarity of the Nigerian situation and to understand why certain action taken by the U.S. government may not resonate among Nigerians. So on the other hand, that of UK, because of our long-standing relationship, issues of trade negotiation, issues of tariff, issues of exchange of goods and services will be very key. And with Ambassador Dalhatu's experience from Korea, Korea too has been very, very strategic in terms of interfacing with Nigeria economically. Of course, you know the role that Daewoo and some of these heavy industries from Korea play. So with that experience, we expect that Nigerian trading with British companies, Nestle, Cadbury, and some of the big British company will also be enhanced through this appointment. And that is why I feel very comfortable with these postings. Initially I was thinking that some of the names I have criticized in the past were going to get this top posting. But I'm happy now that this selection has been done in a way that the country's image will be better protected, and we hope that the needed result will be achieved by these postings.
Thank you very much. We're going to take a short break now. This conversation will continue shortly. Don't go away.
The implementation of the ruling is also dependent on another aspect or another arm of government.
Nowhere in the world will allow under digital economy for banks not to be dispensing domestic currency in that economy.
What will make this one different? We want to know what they do as occupation. All of these are attributes that our questions have been designed to investigate.
In a few days to come, you see that we are all around their own crannies and everywhere in Nigeria, telling people to cooperate.
Welcome to Nigeria Today. Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today, and we're talking about setting agenda for ambassador designates. And of course, I have two gentlemen, one here in the studio and one joining us virtually. Now, Ambassador Danladi, of course, quite a lot has been said in relation to the persons that were posted. These persons that, according to Dr. Omaye, they are quite experienced in a lot of areas. Now, this one would not be like something new. Rather, they will bring out their wealth of experience to enhance the diplomatic relationship. Now, in practical terms, how can these ambassador designates move from, beyond ceremonial roles to become active drivers of Nigeria's foreign policy and economic diplomacy? Because you talked about foreign policies and diplomacy. So how can this be really achieved?
Well, the question is a little bit distorted. I was not getting it very clear, but I think you are talking about the national foreign policy of Nigeria vis-a-vis the challenges. Well, if that is the question, I will say that really the APC government over the years has concentrated on a concentric cycle diplomacy. That is, looking at the interests of Nigeria first, her neighbors, and then, of course, by extension, the international community. I think if you factor in the key foreign policy thrust of this government, which I said is anchored on the 4Ds, the issue of democracy, the issue of development, of course, the issue of diaspora, and of course, the demography. Yes, these are good key agendas, and these experienced diplomats we expect that they will be able to at least use their wealth of experience in order to promote these key agendas. When you look at the issue of demography, yes, the youth constitute about over 60% of our population, and they need the required skills, digital knowledge, technology transfer, the issue of innovation, harnessing the potentials of the youth, the provision of good educational system and facilities. These are areas that our ambassadors will be able to key in with their host countries to see how they can leverage so that the issue of the youth unemployment will be addressed. Going forward, we are looking at the exploitation of our vast solid minerals, and experienced ambassadors will be able to market the vast resources that Nigeria have. One of the key challenges really is to get the correct information from MDAs so that an ambassador can robustly market the potentials of Nigeria. And I believe that this seasoned, accomplished gentlemen that have now been deployed will use their experience to access this information so that they can provide this information, promote Nigeria's market potentials, and at the same time, present facts and figures, especially with respect to the various challenges which Donald Trump posed to Nigeria, the issue of Christian genocide. I believe when the facts and figures are presented by a seasoned diplomat who belongs to the intelligence community, I think there will be some mitigation that will contribute to Nigeria's struggle to have access to the required tools and equipment to combat the menace of terrorism. So basically, the principle is anchored on the national interest. And secondly, the interest of our neighboring countries. So ambassadors that are going to be posted to African countries, as I have said, also have some challenges. The promotion of democracy, which is very close to the heart of the president, all right, the restoration of quick transition to democratic rule where it has been usurped, especially in the Saharan countries, the navigating the complex challenges posed by the Trump's tariff regime vis-a-vis the implementation of the African continental trade area. Again, these are challenges that these ambassadors will have to ensure that they take and they collaborate with the relevant MDAs, they collaborate with the relevant agencies to ensure that these various policies or agreements that are in place are actually implemented to the betterment of the country.
Thank you very much. Just in 20 seconds, what benchmark should be used to, to assess the performance and effectiveness of these ambassadors?
Yes, you asked earlier on. I think the critical benchmark is citizens' diplomacy.
Okay.
Many of our foreign missions have been indicted severally. Not necessarily these four. Generally, our diplomatic system has not been responsive in terms of protecting the interests of Nigerians who have been complaining. Harassed at the airport, harassed at the streets, harassed and everything. So this set of diplomats should make sure that citizens' diplomacy should be the cornerstone of their service to the nation as they are going to these diplomatic missions. Any report of harassment of any citizen, any report that any Nigerian is facing discrimination or is facing on account of he or she being a Nigerian citizen should be thoroughly investigated and resisted by our diplomatic mission.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adoye Matthew O'Malley, International Relations Analyst. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And Ambassador Dauda Danladi, Nigeria's former High Commissioner to Pakistan. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you for being part of the program. Don't forget, Nigeria Today is every weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can check out this episode and others on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Thank you for watching. I am your carrier, Clinton. Do have a wonderful weekend.